Hello, this is the dev diary for the 11th of April. This diary is going to have a focus on inspiration and documentation within our projects. A lot of ground to cover, so let's just get into it. I'm going to be talking about Coven of Cards again, and into our inspirations. We are looking at all of these games as a sort of a springboard to create something of our own. The biggest of which is Hades, since we want to go for a isometric, stylized art style with a dash-based combat system. So Hades and its soon-to-be-released Hades 2 really fits that for us, and Hades 2 has this nice purple aesthetic which would mesh really well with our dreamscape idea. Also might have something to do with witches, which is always, our game is about covens. Sea of Thieves likewise has a really interesting stylized, more cartoony art style. Also Persona 5. Persona 5 is also a unique one because we have the metaverse in Persona 5, which is like an alternate world which is based on the real world, which meshes very well with our dreamscape. It warps reality and does weird stuff with cognitions and symbology and stuff like that, so it's really good. Cult of the Lamb uses management and combat systems really well, which is similar to what we're trying to achieve, and it covers dark themes in a really fun way, which is something we're sort of trying to take some inspiration from. And finally Frostpunk, for its moral decisions and the way it does morality. On to a bit of the documentation. We have our how we organize ourselves as a group. This is our Discord server, how it's structured, or most of it. There's a bit more to it and I couldn't quite fit, but it's fine. So I put together this Discord server so that we could have somewhere to put everything. So everything would have its place and everything would be in its place. So we have different place for drops, like dropping assets that we could use in scene, or dropping we're looking here at the middle is the data drop, so where we have some of our important documents. We have a diary so that we can all keep track of what everybody's progressing in the project and what needs to be done and how things are going. And in the top right you see this, this might be a bit small, but it says high concept. This is a place where the permissions are set up such that only people that are external, they can see only this. So if we wanted to get an artist or a musician on, they would only see these few channels that pertain to them, so they don't get overwhelmed with us talking about programming or level design or whatever have you. These are some of the documents that would have been covered in the data drop that I told you before. Some of these link to our research on tarot symbology. You'll see at the bottom right here, you'll have the Fool, the Magician, going through the major arcana of the tarot deck and their symbology, their meanings. You have the suits of playing cards, what they mean, what the playing cards mean in terms of resources, and information on mechanics, like the bottom left. We have a whole document pertaining to the Sabbath. We keep version numbers So whenever an adjustment is made, we know what was done at what time by whom. Part of this is also testing. So here's the process that we take written notes made during a playtest into a digital spreadsheet. It was hard to get a consistent notation that communicated like what happened in the game in a way that will be readable afterwards, but I settled on this. The colors denote what is being used, so like tarot deck, card deck, or combos or movement. The asterisks denote actions, of which the player has 4 per turn, and indents, so when it goes a tile to the right or a cell to the right, it means an effect invokes another action or card that needs to be resolved before returning back to normal. The square grid represents what cards have been revealed on the deck and at what time or what turn. Then we collate our findings and observations into the table at the bottom left. We have a large document that acted as our project proposition and now acts as our GDD. This is all of the information that we have on our game, on all the mechanics, on all the loops and all the theory, and it's there so we can refer back to it, and so we can give it out to people looking to help on our project or investors. The real trouble with this was organizing it all, but we figured that out very nicely. We wrote out all of our headings and then assigned which headings who was going to write about them. We all wrote definitions for terms that we were going to be using, and then we took the best definitions that met what we were talking about. For example, in unique selling points, you'll see some of these words are underlined, like Sabbat, resources, world influence, noble morality. Those will all link back to the definitions page at the beginning. As for actual level design, we needed a wagon. That's what this is. We needed a wagon because we couldn't find one on the asset store that really like captured what we were going for. So I made this in Blender. It worked pretty well. And I had to research like actual wagon like models and how they were made and stuff to make this. I got into this. I put it into the scene, however, and there was a problem with it. The textures on the body were completely distorted. Like they were completely stretched on the body, and I didn't know why. Which is where I discovered a little something called UV mapping, which, let me tell you, it was a struggle to fix the UV maps, but I had to figure out A, how to do it, and B, I had to actually do it, which involved like unwrapping all the vertices from this UV map, placing a placeholder texture over it to see like how the texture would actually stretch over the model, and then changing where those vertices were placed so the texture would wrap correctly. Other than that, we're ramping up production on like the actual set pieces in the scene. We have the house and the camp on the top left. We have a bridge that will lead to the castle area. We have this little well at the bottom left. We have a grove at the bottom middle, and the sort of overhang cliff area with the wooden drawbridge, or not drawbridge, wood bridge, suspension bridge, that's the word. and those are what we have so far. So yeah, that has been it for this update. Hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.